What's up, Archons? I'm Flightless Pheasant, and you better have your paperwork ready because Sanctum's coming around and they're checking everybody's passports. But before they do, I'm a huge fan of Keyforge, and if you are too, then please like, subscribe, and hit the bell, as I'll be bringing you even more lore from Keyforge and the Crucible. So today I'm going to be doing another video in a series I'm calling Completing the Cycle. So, cycles in Keyforge are a series of connected cards that all share a theme or design ideology. Normally there's one per house in a given set, but every now and then they'll all be in the same house, and this is one of those times. So, today I'm going to be focusing on the Ambassador series of cards. This is a series of 6 cards that were all in the Age of Ascension set, and all in House Sanctum, but that were connected to the other houses present in that set via their background art and flavor text. And just like I did last time, I've commissioned some new cards, 5 specifically, to cover the houses that weren't in Age of Ascension. I've got some really impressive art for you this time around, and I'm really proud of my flavor text, so I hope you guys really appreciate it. But, just like we did before, we'll go through all of the original 6 first, and then we'll get into the new stuff. Are you ready? Let's go. So this time around, a lot of the lore and fluff that we get out of these cards comes from the background art placed behind the Sanctum Ambassador, who's been sent in order to make contact with one of the other houses. Beyond that, there's a greeting that is customized to go with each house, printed below the Ambassador. The concept with these cards is that they're 1-power creatures with elusive that have after fight, after reap, you may use a card of the house that they are an ambassador to. So all of them are going to have that text in common. But the differences are where the really interesting things happen, and that's going to be in the backgrounds and the flavor text. So without any further ado, let's go through the original 6. First up, we have Brobnar Ambassador. The background art for Brobnar Ambassador shows tectonic plates shifting and lava shooting all around him. And the flavor text says, "Greetings, I bring rad tidings." This one's really great. Brobnar is a very energetic house, and it's nice to see that reflected in both the background art and the greeting. And you'll notice that most of these greetings follow a very particular pattern. And I tried to copy that with mine, but you'll see as we go, it'll make itself pretty clear. Next is Ambassador. Ambassador's background shows him in some kind of purple glowing underground cave, surrounded by darkness. And his greeting says, "Greetings, I bring bad tidings." I like this one too. It shows the underground realm of Dis that he's had to travel to, and it really brings about the sort of darker emotions that House Dis seems to embody much of the time. Next we have Logos Ambassador. His background art shows him in some sort of scientifically advanced laboratory, likely one of the many Logos facilities across the Crucible. And his flavor text says, "Greetings, I bring glad tidings." Logos is a mostly upbeat house, so it makes sense for him to be more upbeat when he's talking with them than he might be with others. Though, I'd be careful if I was him. There's a really strong chance he might end up the subject of an experiment. Next we have Mars Ambassador. His background art shows him standing in some kind of open field with a large Martian saucer behind him. And his flavor text says, "Greetings, I bring mad tidings." This is very indicative of Mars. They won't even let him in one of their conclaves. He's got to meet him out in a field in the middle of nowhere. And even then, he's got to be all grumpy about it. I don't know, that just feels very Mars to me to just push him extra distance away. Ambassador or not, you'll never get that close, because you're not a Martian. Then we have Shadows Ambassador. His background art shows him in the middle of some kind of very urban alley, with lots of tiers and roofs and other windows and things like that are very indicative of a highly urban environment. Likely he's somewhere in Hub City. And his flavor text says, "Greetings, I bring..." Hello? Yeah, House Shadows doesn't see ambassadors. I think that's pretty excellent. They didn't even send anyone to greet him. They just sent him to an alley in the middle of nowhere and hoped he'd get lost. And then the last of the original 6, we have Untamed Ambassador. His background art shows him in the middle of some kind of incredibly lush jungle, surrounded by exotic plants and birds. And his flavor text says, "I bring tidings." This is very straightforward and simple, much like House Untamed. In fact, there's a really good chance that he's not even communing with a specific member of the house, but just with nature in general. I like this quite a lot because it gives Untamed this sort of approachable look while still being aloof and mysterious. Alright, so we understand the formula, right? The background art shows roughly where he's interacting with the members of the other house, and then the flavor text is his greetings that is custom designed for that house. Now, just like last time, I've put together some cards for the houses that were excluded, which in this case would be Aquidon, Geistoid, Soran, Star Alliance, and Unfathomable. I gave each of them an ambassador who's got his own background and his own flavor text. And I had to get the art commission, so at the end I will give you attributions for the art commission, and once again I'll let you know the generator I used to generate the cards. So without further ado, here's the ones I put together. First up, we have Aquidon Ambassador. His background art shows him in a large bazaar somewhere on the Aquidon trade routes. And his flavor text says, "Greetings, I bring advertising." I like this one a lot because I was trying to come up with something that would fit the formula, and I really like the cadence of advertising fitting with his other attributions. I also really enjoy the background art for these cards. So I'm going to put the background arts on this side so that you can look at them separate from the card art. But yeah, these are really well done, and shout out to my artist at the end for doing all of these for me. Next, we have the Geistoid Ambassador. His background art shows him in the middle of a large junkyard full of scrap with a castle looming in the background. And his flavor text says, "Greetings, I bring sad tidings." I really like the dark motif of this art. It goes very well with House Geistoid, and I like that in order to resonate with them, he has to be on sort of a more subdued level. Something with a more downward-facing emotional feeling. Something very dark, but also sort of longing. I thought this one was really good. Next, we have the Soran Ambassador. This one's background shows him in the middle of some kind of pavilion, surrounded by large stone columns and steps, and it has a very ancient sort of climbing ivy look to it. And his flavor text says, "It takes how long to get an audience?" I really like the idea that Soran has a bureaucracy that extends beyond anything Sanctum has ever understood, and that he's come all this way to see a member of the Senate, and he'll be admitted in 100 years or so. Next, we have Star Alliance Ambassador. His background art shows him on the deck of one of the many Star Alliance vessels, possibly even the Quantum, and his flavor text is actually attributed to a different character and reads, "Greetings, what tidings do you bring?" This is attributed to Ambassador Liu, who's actually the Star Alliance ambassador on the crew of the Quantum. I like the idea that Star Alliance is the one to greet him, as they're always looking to make contact with other groups on the Crucible. And lastly, we have Unfathomable Ambassador. His background art shows him on a coast in the evening with the waves crashing in around him. And his flavor text says, "Greetings, I bring dark tidings." There was really no other way this one could go. It's just too perfect. I had toyed around with a couple other ideas, but yeah, dark tidings, it had to be. I also really do like this background art. It's very nice and very evocative, and I like the idea that he's not even being admitted into an unfathomable city, he's being met at the coast. I hope you guys really like this. All of my art came from Ketzer, Ace of Keys. I've put their social links down in the comments below for their Instagram and their YouTube. Big shout out, big help, really appreciated it. Also, go back and look through those background arts, because they're just full of Easter eggs that are definitely worth your time. And the cards, of course, were put together using custom keyforge.github.io, which has been a big help. It's a free resource, so go ahead and look into it if you're trying to make your own cards. This was a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying these completing the cycles. The next couple that I have in mind might take a lot of work, so don't hold your breath on those. But I want to try to do more experimental things where I put together my own cards and see what you guys think about them. So, I hope you really enjoyed those. Put your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what you think about my new ambassadors. Would you have given them different flavor text? Are you happy with what I came up with? Do you like the background art? Give Ketzer a shout out for that one. And other than that, that's all I have for you today. So, until I see you next time, later, Archons.